Hush now, children, hush. Y'all settle down on the porch swing. Don't you dare rattle those chains. Just listen to your old uncle for a spell. This ain't no story from a store-bought book, bless its heart. This is a Gullah whisper, carried on the salt marsh breeze and seasoned with the melancholy of old, beautiful sin. The place? Ah, the place. It was a patch of pluff mud and live oak on a barrier island where the cypress roots twist like old, cold skeletons grasping for the tide. A little low-country hamlet, all moss-draped and heavy with the scent of jasmine and regret. The folks there, the planters, the fishermen, the ones whose kin were buried beneath the palmetto fronds for 2 centuries, well, they had plenty. Yes, plenty. But their hearts, I tell you, were as dry and brittle as last year's cordgrass. One evening, as the shadows lengthened and turned everything to bruised indigo and silver, that time of day when the ghosts walk, a stranger came walking down the shell road. He wasn't a fine gentleman, not proper for their company. He was just a man, a lean, hollow-eyed man, his linen suit clinging to him like a second skin, damp with the coastal sweat, his gaze holding the long, lonesome weariness of the road. His hunger, y'all. It wasn't just in his belly, no. It was an aching, visible thing, a dramatic need that sat on his shoulders like a shroud. "Oh, my dear, dear people," he'd sigh, his voice a low, musical thing, like the sad, sweet notes of a slide guitar under a full moon. "I implore you, just a small, pitiful crust to keep the shadow from my door. I've walked from the mainland across the trestle where the rail cars stop and weep, and I have found nothing but the echo of an empty promise." They'd look right through him, those high society ladies whose silks rustled like whispers of gossip. They'd point their fans at him and clutch their pearl necklaces. "We have no surplus, good sir. The sea's been cruel. The crops were sparse. We are sacrificing, truly sacrificing." But you could smell the rich, fatty scent of fried okra and boiled shrimp drifting out from behind their latticed porches. The sin of the low country, my darlings, ain't what you do. It's what you refuse to share. So the hungry man, he stood tall. He smiled, a slow, knowing, dangerous smile that crinkled the corner of his eyes, and he spoke with a refined, deep drawl, slow as honey pouring from the comb. "Ah, but you mistake me, bless your stingy little hearts. I don't need your food. Nah, I have my own recipe, the world's oldest magic right here." And he pulled from his satchel not a diamond, not a gold piece, but a simple, smooth, dark piece of Gullah stone, weathered by the ebb and flow of the tide. He went to the old abandoned slave quarters hearth, the one they never used anymore 'cause it carried too many memories, and he built a small, perfect fire. He fetched an iron pot, filled it with water, and placed his sacred stone right down in the bubbling heart. "The finest soup you ever tasted," he announced to the thickening crowd, his voice rising like an actor on a stage. "It's a miracle. But oh my, it would be richer. It would truly sing if it only had a pinch of salt to cut the rawness of the sea, wouldn't it? Well, Mrs. Devereaux, the grandest of the lot, couldn't stand the thought of a fine recipe being ruined by poor execution. She disappeared and came back with a big, coarse handful of sea salt. The hungry man stirred it in, tasting with great flourish. Magnificent, almost perfect, but sweet Lord, it's missing the earthy, tender heart of an onion, a mere simple onion. He'd look at them, his eyes wide open and innocent, just like a child caught stealing pecans. And so it went. Old man Beauregard, who everyone knew kept a cellar full of smoked sausage, was shamed into tossing in a link of that fine spiced meat. A young girl, fascinated by the drama, sneaked in a handful of tender field peas her mama had been shelling. Another brought a few scallions that needed using up. Soon the pot was steaming, not with the scent of water and stone, but the rich, communal fragrance of a true low-country boil, all simmering together. The man, who was a stranger no longer, stirred the pot, his face bathed in the fire's amber glow. He served the soup, every last drop, pouring it into the chipped bowls and fine china that the islanders offered. They ate it all, every man, woman, and child, their faces alight not just from the fire, but from the sudden, shocking warmth of sharing. When the pot was scraped clean, the hungry man stood up, dusted off his trousers, and bid them a good night. He took his dark, simple stone, the instrument of his connivance, and put it back in his satchel. Y'all ask who had the moral high ground? The grand truth, children, whispered on the wet, low wind coming off the marsh is this: even the most simple, innocent child in this broken, beautiful low country knows precisely who stands upon the moral high ground in the story of the desolate man who fed an entire town that had coldly denied him by merely employing a cauldron of steaming water and a humble, common stone. Even if that glorious, life-giving meal had to be conjured by the sheer, artful necessity of his own magnificent trickery.